Recording in progress.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left something. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.
Yo, what up? What's going on, folks? Welcome to another edition. This is the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, live on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter handle. You can follow us there at Barbershop SPOR2. It's your boy Trey Frazier. Got the homie Maestro Styles here. What's good,
Yes,
man?
sir.
What's good?
What's good, man? Coolin', man. Tired, man. I know that seems like a weekly theme over here, man. But I promise, I keep telling myself that there is a reward behind all this tiredness that's going on in my world.
Yeah. Well, we start to see it toward the end of the show usually. Never really much in the beginning of the show. But yeah, man. This week was something, I tell you, man. But you know, the man above always got the final call. So all's good, man. But bro, I got to give you your flowers real quick, man. This beat that you laced for your boy, Terry Cloth Robe.
Oh.
Man, you got one, bro. I mean, as you always like to say, man. That's one of my joints right there, man. I
hope he put that. I don't even know if he putting that out.
Really?
Yeah, shout out Andrew Jackson. I don't even know if he putting that out or not.
Oh man.
We working on his new project. Vacation.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of salty I ain't make the first one, so I've been sending him records for the second one, and that was one of the beats. He actually recorded that in my house. I don't know if he re-recorded it or not, but yeah, that and while we on the music, man, I gotta shout out my man Jusuf. I'm mixing down his new project, and then I got some R&B stuff coming, bro. I'm trying to tell you, Shorty, this joint Shorty just sent back, man. She said she just sit back the demo. Shout out Taylor Roar. But I'm excited about this record. So
can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that, man.
Sure.
But yeah, I just wanted to let you know that, man.
Thank you, man.
I came across it and I was just like, ooh, yeah, you really you put your foot in this one for certain.
I appreciate it.
For certain,
yeah.
Man. So I guess we'll talk about the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs are a dynasty now, and the 49ers got some soul searching to do. But before we get to the game, and since we're on the subject of music, that halftime show, man, that was fire.
Yeah. I mean, even in the midst of Alicia Keys cracking on her first note, it was a phenomenal. I don't need she looked so good. I overlooked the crack, man. I overlooked it, man. That was a phenomenal show. Oh my God, Lord have mercy.
Yes.
I ain't gonna hold you. I want a piece of that, man.
What we used to do back in the day, dear God bless her.
I ain't gonna hold you, man. If ever in the Lord's will, man, I wouldn't mind a piece of that.
Yeah. So I got a couple notes from the halftime show. Number one, the metallic Jordan 4s that Usher wore. Man.
Shout out to the shoe surgeon who did them customs. Yeah.
Man, fire shoes, man, with the metallic and the blue going on right there. And me and Debbie got into a convo about this yesterday, and it's the Usher and Alicia Keys performance. And she was of the opinion that Usher was, a little bit too close on Alicia Keys, and that she thought, hey, where's Swiss at? And I'm kind of like, they just performing, Like, I didn't see nothing really much wrong with the, how close they were and all that. I thought it was okay. It's just two Hall of Fame musicians, doing a performance. I didn't take much from how close they were.
Swiss came out and said he ain't got no problem with it, so I ain't got no problem with it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
I
mean, if they was doing a sitcom and they had to kiss in a sitcom, like it's almost kind of the same kind of deal.
At the end of the day, I mean, look, man. At the end of the day, I'm sure that Usher recognizes that Shawty is like that and all those things. Look, man. Let me say this: if I were in Usher's position, I would have attempted the same thing. But in the name of performance. But look, man, I don't know who Usher is. I don't know him as a person. I know me personally that I could see him getting a little what's the best way to say it? I'm sure it was good for him personally, as good as it was professionally. That's what I'll say. So but at the end of the day, like I said, under the guise of profession, that's what it is. Like I said, Swiss said he had no problem with it.
Yep.
So if the husband ain't got no problem with it, and Alicia Keys, I guess that's to be determined. But it seemed like nobody had a problem with it that was involved. If they like it, I love it.
They known each other for a long time. I don't see any issue with it whatsoever. All parties seem to be cool with it. So
yeah. So if they cool with it, I'm cool with it. Only I wish would have happened that I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I would have loved it had happened. Oddly enough, man, if this were my show and I was in charge of it, I would have took out my boo, and I would have put in Lovers and Friends. Just that's just a personal thing. I get that my boo may have been the more Super Bowl appropriate song. And all those things. But obviously Alicia Keys coming out playing, with the quick if I ain't got you, like I get it. But for me, just for Maestro, I'd have been cool with Lovers and Friends. I'd have been much more satisfied with Lovers and Friends than my boo.
So I would have played Lovers and Friends just because you had Lil Jon and Ludacris right there on stage with you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, if you're asking me what's the better song, if you're asking just Maestro, Lovers and Friends hit way different for me than my boo.
I would have kept my boo on there, but I would have certainly added Lovers and Friends there. And for me, it's more of a it's kind of like the Meth and Red versus a couple years ago, where they had Eric Sermon, EPMD, and Parrish and the guys there, and they didn't do Symphony 2000, which had me real angry that all them niggas was right there on stage and they didn't play Symphony 2000. So, to kind of compare it to here, where you got Lil Jon, Ludacris right there at your disposal, obviously, that's the number one chart topper, no questions there. But I would have loved to have seen Lovers and Friends be played in that spot there. I
mean, they could have went straight to the Lil Jon. They could have let Usher do a little bit and then went straight to the Lil Jon part. And that'd have been cool.
Yep. Now, he also he played none of the cuts from his first album, which I'm not surprised about, because
you talking about the 1994 album, or you talking about
the 94 joint? No, the 94 joint. The 94 joint.
I mean,
which I'm not surprised about.
Yeah.
So, well, I say that only because, and maybe this is people's personal preference, but a lot of folks are fans of Think of You, Call Me a Mac, the list, if you're familiar with that album, kind of goes on and on there. I knew he wasn't going to play anything off of that album. He kind of, and when you kind of see him in interviews, he kind of shies away from that particular album for some strange reason. I don't know exactly what it's about. But
well, I ain't gonna hold you, bruh.
what?
That wasn't a bad album. Let me be clear in that.
Yeah, right.
But of his
Good album.
discography,
Good album.
but of his discography, that's at the bottom of the conversation. I mean, I ain't gonna say at the bottom of the conversation because this got worse albums later on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, look, man, that was 1994. He was, like. It's not like that joint had the hit of "You Make Me Wanna" the My Way album. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
that
sure,
joint,
sure, of
it
course.
had records on there, but that joint ain't hit.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not surprised that he didn't play anything off of it. Like, I'm cool with it. I see a lot of folks that a lot of folks I think had their personal preferences about that particular album. Which, by the way, I love most of the cuts on that album. By the way, but like you said, it's just not. It's not Confessions. It's not My Way.
I wonder how old those people were that was saying they want to hear "Thinking of You" and "Call Me a Mac."
Maybe no more than 3 years older than me. I would imagine.
I mean,
3
years is a lot. 3 years is a lot. 3 years is a lot considering. When
so in '94, how old were we in '94? What, 11 years old?
11. My introduction to Usher was definitely "You Make Me Wanna." It was not call me a Mac
right.
or thinking. You know what I'm saying? My introduction to Usher as when he was clearly "You Make Me Wanna." You know what I'm saying? So I don't. And maybe I'm saying that based on what my experience with Usher is. Yep. But "Call Me a Mac" ain't one of them records in the large scheme of discography that Usher has. I could name a few more records that he could have played before he even thought about "Call Me a Mac" or "Thinking of You."
Right, and I was gonna say, and even if you want to condense it to just that album, "Think of You" to me is a much better record than "Call Me a Mac." I mean, any day of the week, that record. To me, put over.
But if you're talking about the Super Bowl, well, if you're talking about any of them records, I'm not talking about none of them because I'm like I said, my only two criticisms is that he didn't play "Lover and Friends" and that Alicia Keys cracked at her very first note. Mm-hmm. I saw somewhere on Twitter, I don't know if this is true, that they edited out the crack. Like when you relook at the performance,
the replay,
that her crack is gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Are you surprised they did that?
Yeah, a little bit. Like let it live. When Beyonce almost fell, they ain't cut that out. They ain't edit that out.
I don't know. I don't
think Beyonce almost falling is as bad as a crack.
I guess I'm looking at it two different ways here. I guess I'm looking at it seeing Beyonce almost fall, that's more of a visual than it is an audio kind of a thing. Like you can,
but you can still edit it out.
You can sure. I get that. I'm just saying it's two different things. One is audio, the other is visual. So I think maybe their decision to edit her crack, I think, was just more so based on the decision that, this is an audio thing. Let's just make this change because it's, I guess, easier to edit than it would be to edit a visual. Maybe that's why they did it. I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws here at this point. So
because I'm sorry, that's a $1 billion operation. They can edit a video joint just as easy as they can edit an audio joint. Yeah, so I ain't jacking that. Yeah. All right, man, to the game, man. Before we get to the game, let me get this short stuff out the way.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I need to say I don't pretend to have known this person very well, but I need to say rest in peace to Andrew Washington, who's
ball player, right?
Ball player in DC. I to my understanding, he used to play a lot in around Goodman. But I wouldn't be reporting the news properly if I didn't at least shout him out and say rest in peace and condolences to him and his family. I went Googling him to see, I know he played in a Tracy McGrady league in sometime 2000.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that I shouted him out. I don't feel like I should ever leave that untouched.
Yeah.
When somebody from here die in the sports world. So condolences to the family. Prayers to the family. Rest in peace to Andrew Washington, DC basketball legend.
I saw Kelsey Nicole's tweet about him the other day, and I never heard of him.
Yeah.
And just kind of like you, did a little bit of research, and I kind of echo everything you said there. Real tragic ending to his life.
He was found out Hillcrest Heights, and just to the people, I think they say he found Hillcrest Heights like 1 a.m, shot, and somebody else was found like a couple of blocks down, shot. But outside of all that, I ain't here to necessarily get into the details. I just wanted to make sure we, shouted him out and sent love to his family.
Yeah.
And to everybody affected by his passing.
Yeah, rest in peace for certain, man. And stop the violence, folks. Let's just cut it out.
Definitely
man.
Getting crazy around here.
Yeah, for real.
Definitely getting crazy around here.
Yeah, for real. But to the game, 25-22 was the final. Kansas City wins in overtime. So this is the first overtime where the new, I guess you could call it the Josh Allen rule, comes into effect there. So obviously I got a lot, and I'm sure you got a lot to kind of unpack a bit here.
Not a whole lot, but I'm interested in why you have so much.
So I want to start with, and look, we'll give the Chiefs their flowers, and we'll figure out what San Fran does from here on out. Your thoughts about the 49ers coming out and saying they didn't know about the overtime rules? Because I didn't feel like that particular overtime went any different than it would have under the old rule. Like, we knew both teams possessed the ball, right? San Fran put a field goal up. Kansas City gets the ball. And if they get the touchdown, they win the game. They tie, then it's sudden death. Like,
yeah, and more than that, what would you have? And I guess what I didn't understand is, what did you gain as a player or anybody telling the media that you didn't understand the rules? Because are you saying that you would have done something differently?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have done anything differently. You would have kicked the field goal. You would have got scored on. Are you saying that in turn you didn't think that would you have played harder if you knew the rules? Or,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Would they have taken the ball at the coin toss? Like, I know that's been another conversation, but
well,
honestly,
I can't strategically see why you would not take the ball first.
Yeah, right. Right.
I can't strategically see how you would do that.
Right.
Especially because and correct me if I'm wrong. If they would have scored a touchdown, the game would have been over, or Kansas City would have had an opportunity to possess the ball.
If San Fran scored a touchdown, Kansas City still can possess the ball.
Okay, can still possess the ball. Okay, yeah.
Right,
So I don't really understand. So
what did they lose? What did they?
Well, here's what I'll say. I don't understand. I don't remember if it was an offensive player or a defensive player who said it. I know.
It was
I saw somewhere.
It was Juszczyk, the fullback.
Okay,
yep.
And then he walked it back earlier today. I heard.
Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah. But so were you implying that y'all forgot the rules, so y'all felt like y'all won the game when you kicked the field goal? What are you are you saying that you would have made a more aggressive effort to score a touchdown? I don't understand exactly what he was trying to say when he said that.
Yeah.
It was an unnecessary, even if you didn't know the rules, it wasn't necessary for you to say that. So I don't really get the point.
And nothing that happened in that overtime period made you think that they didn't understand the rule. Like, everything kind of went the way it was supposed to, even under the old rule before they implemented the Josh Allen rule. So I don't get the whole coming out in the media saying, hey, we didn't understand the rules, unless you want people to feel sorry for you guys that you lost the game, but I don't
I
feel
don't
sorry
feel
for
sorry
you.
for I don't
Yeah.
feel sorry for the fact that you let them drive down. And I'm sorry, that touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Tony Romo saying they was lining that defense up for that whole game. It sure did look that way because Mecole Hardman was wide the hell open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I get it was a red zone, you know, that kind of flank thing that fullbacks used to do a lot in the 90s. That's kind of the route he ran.
Yeah.
Look, man, I'm sorry, man. That was too easy. That last play was too easy.
Yeah.
It was just too easy.
Yeah. So I didn't get the whole complaining about that from them.
I didn't understand that.
I didn't understand it. There was nothing that, I mean, to me, watching the game, that made me think the 49ers lost something in that overtime. You know?
Yeah.
The coin toss thing, like you said, why would you, if you're the offense and if you win the toss, why would you not want the ball? Like,
Right.
yeah, go ahead, go score a touchdown. And hell, if it was me, if I scored a touchdown, I'm going for 2 and put the pressure back on Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like, nah, they you know, they decided
Yeah,
to do
man.
what they did.
Look, man. They lost. They didn't run the ball. Kansas City was superior in special teams, and I think that's a lot. That's what I noticed. Let me
Yep.
say that.
Mhm.
I ain't watched a whole bunch of what people thought about the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean the Jake Moody block, the muff punt, it was a lot of special team. It was a few special teams things that was going on
Yep.
that where it seemed like San Francisco was ill prepared and Kansas City was supremely prepared.
Mhm.
A lot like what Baltimore did with Kansas City. It seemed like they went away from the run in the second half.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep.
I don't know why people like to throw to McDuffie and L'Jarius Sneed. But let me tell you something, man. Those cornerbacks are good. I hope they break it up. You can
I've
bring
been
L'Jarius Sneed to
telling people.
Pittsburgh.
I've been telling people this defense is, if Kansas City was gonna do what they're gonna do, they're gonna have to ride the defense. And
Yeah, but for me, and I remember I thought about that when I was watching the game, but I feel like, in my personal opinion,
Yep.
that if they run the ball,
Mhm.
Kansas City's going to be tired.
No facts. No
The
facts.
strength of their defense is their secondary.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying they don't have a good front four. Chris Jones is there, and Chris Jones is there. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
they got a good front line, but their strength is in the back.
Right.
Their secondary is their strength.
But if Kansas City would have lost that game, let's say 16-10, I don't know that I'm necessarily gonna put the onus on the Kansas City defense. I'm gonna put it on the offensive side of the ball for Kansas City. If you're talking about blame, that still was a good game that they played. And even if they would have, gave up some runs here and there, I felt like Kansas City's defense was maybe going to do just enough to keep the offense in it and give Patrick Mahomes and crew the opportunity to do some things.
See, I look at it different because I feel like for a lot of that game, San Francisco had momentum.
Yep.
And I feel like if you ride it, look, man, you didn't get to this Super Bowl on the back of Brock Purdy. You didn't. He's been efficient. He's been above efficient.
Mm-hmm.
But Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams is what make this offense go. That's just what it is.
Yep.
So to go away from that in the second half, I think was just a mistake. It was a mistake, and what have we been hearing all season really about Kyle Shanahan is that he get cute, he get cocky, he get too, he feel like I'm the best thing smoking, so I'm gonna do this the way I want to do it as opposed to doing it the best way to win the game.
Right.
And it reared its ugly head again. In the most important time of the year, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it seemed like Kyle Shanahan still hasn't learned his lesson going back to the Falcons Super Bowl, going back to the Super Bowl against the Chiefs the first time a few years ago. And yeah, there was a lot of things. San Francisco, there were some things that they couldn't take advantage of, like the Patrick Mahomes interception in I think the second quarter. That was an opportunity to get some points. I think at that point it was 10-0.
Mm-hmm.
That was an opportunity for San Francisco to go down the field, get some points, go up 16-0, and then you really, really start to get Kansas City to feel the heat and get the pressure. So yeah, there were a lot of things, special teams. I'm curious to get your opinion about the muffed punt for San Francisco. So it bounced off the back of somebody's foot,
and
it looked like Ray McLeod was trying to
get out of the way.
Yeah,
he did the right thing because he saw it hit the player's foot.
Agreed.
But he was trying to get them out of the way before it hit the foot. I mean that's a. I mean, look, man, it's just one of those plays where
Yep.
And it just didn't go your way.
And I don't blame him for going out because I seen a lot of criticism about this play, and I'm like, Ray McLeod had to go get to go get the football. Like, what are we? What are we talking about?
Who's criticizing? Maybe they didn't see the football hit that San Francisco player's foot.
I think that's what it was, but I didn't go back to check the person or whatever. I didn't really care at that point.
Yeah,
but I just
that or he don't know the rules.
But I just saw. But it was more than one person talking about it. Like, yo,
so they don't know the rules, or they didn't see it.
They probably didn't see the ball bounce off the back foot. Ray McLeod had to go get that ball. Now, whether he should have just fell on it, I don't know if he was really in position to really fall on it.
No, that was just a bang.
He had to go get that ball. Some way, somehow, he had to go get the ball. I can't put the blame on Ray McLeod in that situation. It's just one of those things that's why they call it special teams, right? Anything can happen. So, it is what it is.
I don't put nothing on them for that. That's nah. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it is what it is there. But it's a big play because Kansas City takes the lead right there, right after that muff punt on special teams. So they go up. I think they go up 16-13. I think was the score. So at that point, it started to become a game. At that point, so.
Well, I thought it was always a game. I never, as much as San Fran had some momentum, I never felt like you didn't watch this, or let me say, I didn't watch this game and felt like, the 49ers was going to pull away at any point.
Right.
I didn't watch, and I certainly didn't watch this game and feel like, Kansas City is not going to be able to make a run for a win. Whether they won or not is a different thing. But I never this. It's not like this game ever got out of hand.
Yeah. So when I say it started to become a game, I'm talking about the point where it started to go back and forth. San Francisco had all the momentum for most of that first half, if not all of the first half. 10-0, and then Kansas City kicks that field goal at the end of the first half to cut it to 10-3. So at that point, I felt like, okay, this is about to go back and forth, which it did all the way up into the overtime period, and then we know what happened in the end there. But all in all, man, I thought it was a great game. I know some people thought it was boring in the first half, but I think all in all, I think, people came to kind of watch a pretty good game that I thought. So,
yeah, it was a good game for me. I like I said, it was a good defensive game in the beginning. I mean, really throughout the game, but because it's at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, man, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, man. Once they allowed him to, again, the same kind of thing I was talking about with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Hey, man, run the ball. Mm-hmm. Once you, as the quarterback, start to make Kansas City do something different, because they account for running backs and they played the running game very well. They played the passing game very well, meaning they played against Pacheco. When I talk about the running game.
Yep.
But that X factor is the quarterback being able to be mobile. And once you have to account for the quarterback being mobile, Kansas City struggles.
Yep.
It's been said before. Not just this year, but in the years prior. Like that's the X factor. Is why I thought that Baltimore was going to beat Kansas City this year, because at the end of the day, when shit got tight, Lamar Jackson can break the game open.
Yep.
Well, Patrick Mahomes can also break the game open. Maybe not as well as Lamar Jackson, but efficient enough.
If you give
to get
the
them
guy
back up a little bit,
an opportunity, he's gonna take it. We said it about Brady all these years. If you give the guy an opportunity, he's gonna take advantage of it, and he's gonna hurt you in the end. And this is who Pat Mahomes is, man. This guy's legacy, and I know he's 6-7 years into the league, but 3 Super Bowl championships, 2 league MVPs, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 6 division titles. That's Hall of Fame right there already. And through the first 6-7 years of this guy's career. And as far as the dynasty talk is concerned, this is an official. Yeah, this is the official dynasty now. So
it's the new Belichick and Brady. Now I
got a new team to hate now. So
yeah. But the problem is that I can't really hate on them. That's the problem I'm having. I don't dislike Patrick Mahomes or Andy Reid, man.
Right.
Like,
and I'm just talking about the team. I'm also talking about the team. But I hate you.
Yeah, but I dislike the Patriots. I dislike Bill Belichick. I respect them. Let's be clear. I respect who they are.
Well, I disliked everything about the Patriots. I think that's the difference. I disliked the city, the team, Belichick, Brady. With the Chiefs, it's more so the team, and it's more so they're in my conference. So if my team wants to get the ring, they got to go through them. Like you, I don't hate the quarterback. Andy Reid is not Belichick to the point where you hate the guy. Andy Reid is probably the more likable coach. Right. So, but I think more so for me, it's I hate the team, and I hate the fact that my team is in the same conference as them, and I gotta go through them. So we could say that for a lot of teams. We could say
for sure.
We could.
For sure. I mean, look, they smoked us in a playoff game a few years ago. So
yeah. I mean, I made mention of it on Twitter, man. This is like the Jordan era of the NFL. Like Mahomes he's MJ. Lamar is Barkley. Josh Allen is Ewing. The San Francisco 49ers is the Utah Jazz. It is what it is, man. It is what it is, bro.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I for sure thought you was gonna give Lamar Jackson Patrick Ewing, but
so do you get?
I don't. I do not.
League MVP.
Why is Lamar
Barkley League MVP?
League MVP. Okay.
League MVPs.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So
yeah, I mean, all right. Well, shout out to them. Shout out to the Kansas City Chiefs. Congrats to Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, everybody involved. On the 49ers side. Oh, before we go to the 49ers side.
What up?
What do you think Travis Kelce was grabbing up Andy Reid for? And how much do you think it had to do with the fact that his bitch was in the building?
I was gonna say his girl was watching him.
I take that back.
I feel like you know how in the comics there's that cloud and you read the words in the cloud and stuff. I felt like watching that clip, and I felt like he said, "Yo, my girl watching me. Yo, get me the damn ball. Like, what's good, whatever."
Because not only him, man, but Kittles, they were very quiet in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them. I mean, Kelce eventually got some burn, but I mean, considering the Super Bowl, like they were pretty quiet.
Yeah, yeah. That's surprising, even on the Kittle side, like him not getting. And I think we said it maybe like mid-season. Like it seemed like Kittle was sort of the forgotten piece
Mm-hmm.
on the offense because of Debo and McCaffrey and even Brandon Ayuk, and so. But it's still surprising given that it's not often you see these guys back in the Super Bowl, 3-4 years from now, right? So you would think, yo, I'm gonna play better this time around. Well, didn't work out for Kittle, but as far as Kelsey's concerned, look, man, all I know is, and shout out to AJ Brown who was tweeting during that moment where he said if that were him, they probably would have, fried him pretty good, and I agree with him. If it was any black receiver,
Say if he put out the league is what he said.
right. I don't know if he get put out the league, but he'll definitely get tortured on social media and throughout the national media. But I do agree with him in a sense that the narrative would have been quite different versus what they've been saying about Kelsey and stuff. But that's the only part I didn't like about it was
I didn't like him. I didn't like him grabbing. Why you grabbing him up like that? I'm sorry. There's a more productive way to do that. Travis Kelsey, hey man, don't give me I'm emotional. I'm passionate about the game. I never agree with people putting hands on other people. Mm-hmm. I definitely don't agree with him putting his hands on an old man who can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
Now, was it that deep in real life? I don't think so. But but the optic of it, I don't like it. I didn't agree with the optic of it for sure.
So that Raiders game they played on Christmas and they lost that game, but if I'm not mistaken, that was the game where Andy Reid gave Travis Kelsey a bump. Like he literally took his body and bumped Travis Kelsey as he was walking past.
Oh,
him.
really?
Yeah.
I don't recall that.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So,
if they do that, okay. Well, then I take it back. If they do that to each other, if that's
well, I don't know if they do that to each other. Is 2 times enough to say, oh, this is a normal thing? I don't know that 2 times is enough to consider that.
2 times that we caught on camera, so that's one. And to be honest, they made a conversation about it at halftime, but after that, I didn't hear no mention of it again. So, and maybe that's because they won and those things, but I didn't hear no mention of it again after the halftime recap. So, maybe it just wasn't a big deal. But I like I said, the optic of it, I ain't care for.
Right. Yeah, I think Keyshawn Johnson made a good point earlier. He said when stuff like that happens and you're the announcer and you're the play-by-play guy, your job is to kind of narrate what's going on the field. And as I'm watching that happen in real time, they really kind of didn't over exaggerate the situation. It was more so, oh, okay, it's Kelsey. It's nothing to see here. They've played together a long time. This team is connected. That was kind of the vibe you got from when they're trying to tell the story. Whereas, like, if you remember the Randy Moss touchdown in Green Bay years ago, this was before the whole straight cash homie thing, where he caught the touchdown and he did a touchdown celebration where he mooned the Green Bay fans. And I think Joe Buck was doing that game. And Joe Buck was like, that's a disgusting act. And, when the play-by-play guy does that and illustrates it in that way, then it kind of sticks with the fans and it sticks with the media to portray it that way. So I kind of agree with what he was saying there in regard to that. But go ahead.
I was going to say I'm not going to look. That is a bad optic. And as much as and even to the Randy Moss thing, as much as I wouldn't go when it's. I don't know if you're saying he called Randy Moss trifling or disgusting. But if you just
The
call it an
act.
act,
He just called the act.
okay.
The act.
I ain't got no problem with him saying that.
The act.
I ain't got no problem with him.
No, I don't have a problem with him saying it. I guess the point I was trying to drive home was the perception of what was said kind of carries, forward versus how they portrayed Kelsey and Andy Reid in that situation.
So are you well what do you think is more egregious? Him Randy Moss pretending to moon fans, or Kelsey jacking up Andy Reid?
I mean, if you're asking me to, because I think both are like out of character a bit, out of line. I think they both are, but if you're asking me to choose one, I would have to say it's bumping your coach, because that's a physical. You doing something physical to another human being. So and we don't want to hurt nobody.
But even with the context that that's what they allegedly do, like you said, Andy Reid did that to Kelsey earlier in the season, and everybody moved on like it was normal.
Even with that, because I don't know that that's a normal thing, based on us seeing it on camera and only seeing it 2 times. If I'd have seen this 6, 7 times, then I could be like, okay, this is something that's normal, nothing to see here.
You don't feel like Andy Reid's response to him being grabbed up would connotate that maybe there's some sense of normalcy in that? That's what I left with.
You mean in that moment of the shove?
Right.
No, I don't. I think Andy Reid just said, "Okay, I got a game to coach. I'm just not gonna get, knee deep into Travis Kelsey. Pause. I don't want to, start another situation while we're down in a game. I got a game to coach. I think that's what his mindset was."
Okay. Well, shout out to him for being hyper focused, because if a motherfucker grab me like that, and I'm, it's because again,
we're younger. We're younger too, so I think we would have.
Because I'm not talking about jumping on him and fighting him. I'm talking about you grabbing me is going to throw me off. If you grab me,
no, I get it.
And
I get it.
I don't think that got to do with being younger. I think that got to do with, hey, at the end of the day, don't touch me if I don't want to be touched, unless it's a normal thing that we do.
Yeah, I hear you. I just think if we're younger guys, so I think we would have reacted differently versus an Andy Reid. But what the hell do I know?
And I said I don't think that got nothing to do with age. I don't think that got nothing to do with age. But to the San Fran side, man.
Yep.
Is it time to fire Mike Shanahan?
You mean his son?
I'm sorry, Cal Shanahan.
I've joked about that for a couple of days now. It's obviously coming to the realization that they are going to keep Kyle Shanahan at this point.
There was never a situation really, even though I ain't gonna lie, Rod Soul did have me convinced, but there ain't a situation where they're gonna fire Cal Shanahan. That just ain't finna happen.
Nah. Now I can imagine, as a San Francisco fan, you can lose faith in Kyle Shanahan moving forward.
Sure.
I can certainly see that being the case, but he's not going anywhere because, number one, who are you going to get? And I know that's always like the cliche thing to respond to, but you're talking about a guy that's got a system that works. Like, if you get another coach, you're going to have to implement an entire new offensive system. So I can totally understand why San Fran would want to keep Kyle Shanahan. But they got a lot of questions, man. First off, prayers to Dre Greenlaw, because that was
for sure.
That was tough, man. All the guy was doing was trying to get on the field, and he pops his Achilles, man. That's tough, man.
And to the people on Twitter, because one of them got a little spicy with my homie Young Heavy on Twitter. To the people that are saying shit like, that's what he get because he was acting too hype after every play on defense. I've seen things like, that's what he get for sucking dick every other play. To y'all folks some trifling motherfuckers, and y'all need to get y'all shit together, cause that's crazy for y'all to sit there and criticize Drake Greenlaw for a freak accident because he was excited about having and celebrating good plays. That defense was flying them first 2 or 3 possessions against Kansas City. So yeah, you should be hyped, and you need to try to keep that energy up because you're trying to win a Super Bowl. So it's a freak accident. We get well soon, but you motherfuckers that's on here attacking him and wishing ill on him, and that's what you get. Y'all need help, man. Y'all need, and it's y'all are the problem with the sports world. Y'all are the problem.
So backstory. So Ashley Baker and Young Hev and Chris, they fire up the Twitter space after the game, immediately after the game, right?
Okay.
And I'm listening, and Young Hev is saying his piece, and I tweeted to him. I said, "Bro, you one brave dude for coming in a Twitter space after your team lost the biggest game of the season, because I would have just went someplace into hide and not even feeling like talking to anybody. I wouldn't want to talk to nobody. And the fact that this brother came in a Twitter space with, hundreds of people in it ready to talk is, props to that brother for doing that. But then this girl gets on, and this girl is just, and I don't know what her issue is. I don't know if this was something that maybe stemmed from a previous Twitter space in the middle of the season, but she gave that dude a lashing, cussed the man out. Like, F you and da-da-da-da. And I'm sitting here like, I'm thinking to myself, what's the addy? Because it's just no way you going to come in my space, tell me F you after my team lost the biggest game of the year, and me not do something. Like that's it's just wow. I mean, to your point, Maestro, people just, people got no place in this space for sports to be, talking this reckless, man.
Yeah, especially because it's online and you can't look that person you talking to crazy in the face.
Yeah,
and that's going to consistently be what bothers me. It's like, look, man, at the end of the day, we are all on the internet. Like don't get cute.
Right.
Like
you ain't gotta act tough. Like
everybody like to pop their little shit here and there, and
if it's all games and fun and all that,
and respectful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm big on on respect, man, and that's just not respectful. I don't respect it. I don't know who Shorty is. I ain't gonna call out her name, but that's wild. And I don't know where that came from. So I wasn't there.
I didn't know where it came from. I didn't know where it came from. But
when them motherfucking 000s hitting, or when that touchdown was scored, rather, I cut my TV off and I got in my damn bed.
I wouldn't have blamed Young Heavy for cussing that girl out one bit. But that man, he kept it. He kept it professional. I gotta give him. What was he saying?
Like, was she attacking? Like, she's saying "f you," but she was giving sports opinions, or was she saying, I don't like your hat or some shit, or your beard is trash? Like, what I'm saying? Like, what was?
Yeah, like I said,
I wasn't insulting him. Is what I'm asking.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't so much of an insult per se, but like I said, to come in the main Twitter space.
I'm with you still.
Come out like that because of maybe a disagreement earlier in the year on a space, or your team didn't do this, or my team didn't do that. It's like,
is that speculation that you think that happened, or that there was
it's certainly speculation. I'm just okay. I'm trying to, I guess, understand it just kind of based off what was said and how it was received, that this stemmed from previous something else that happened in the space. It caught me off guard for certain. Like, I thought, guys was gonna come in and just kind of maybe pop their own shit. Hey, the Niners lost, da 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 da, and would be all cool and respectful. But this girl came on here with the F-bombs, like, directed toward Young Heavy, and it's like,
I don't. I ain't gonna hold you,
Ma'am,
man. I was
what are we doing?
like I've said to Hev and to Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
I shout out to Sports After Dark. I am not built for that. I ain't built to host it. I ain't built for that.
Yeah, I got respect for my brother Young Hev for
Yeah, for
staying through
sure.
all that.
Shout out
For
C. Lou as
certain.
well, but I ain't built to a whole bunch of people. I mean, look, even if everybody's respectful, I ain't built for 15 people
My
trying to get their
man,
opinion off at one time.
my
I ain't built for
man,
it.
my man was in a Twitter space after his team lost the biggest game of the year. That I mean,
And I definitely ain't finna
props.
listen. I damn sure ain't finna listen to 15 motherfuckers getting their point across, and I'm already salty about what happened to my team.
Yeah, yeah.
I damn sure ain't doing that.
I saw Gina and the crew promote that they were going to do a show after the Super Bowl, after the game.
Right.
They ain't fire that
do
joint
that
up.
shit.
They ain't fire that joint up. And I don't blame them one bit. They got their rocks off. What was
They
it
got
yesterday?
process.
Yeah, they
Okay,
had to
yeah.
let it process, but they did do a show yesterday. Shout out to the homie Rod. Shout out to Wise and
Yeah.
and the crew. But yeah, they you can imagine how Rod feels. After this
Yeah,
loss.
man, because he feel I feel like I'm about to mess up exactly. I know what he said. What I recall him saying is, they need to fire Shanahan if they don't win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to fire Shanahan, and in which case I am going to back off of my San Francisco 49er fandom. Is what I believe him to had said.
Yeah.
So my man Rod, if you're listening. Hey man, I'm not expecting to see all the 49er, support next year because Kyle Shanahan ain't going nowhere, bro.
Nope, not going nowhere. But what happens to this roster now? Ayuk is a free agent.
Ayuk's brother is on social media talking about. See, this is why we about to leave.
Mm-hmm.
How my man only got 3 catches in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They asked him in the I guess in some post game conference, what did he feel like his future was going to be, and he was like, whatever's best for me or something. Like he didn't
As you would expect, right?
Well, no, because you could see because he had a negative, like you could tell he was still fucked up about losing the game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was a real standoffish kind of tone and mood. It was like you could tell he was upset about losing the game, and B about that he didn't feel like he was given an opportunity to contribute to a win.
Yeah.
And that's what I gathered from it. That's what I gathered from his response. And then that's what I gathered from his brother, obviously on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So do I think they would let Brandon Ayuk go out the door? No. But it would seem that they're at least at the stage where they're feeling like maybe they could do something different. Like, let's see if I have the opportunity to go somewhere different. But the truth is where are you going to go to compete for a Super Bowl?
Well, that would mean he would be taking some sort of discount per se. Not necessarily saying he's going to make less than what he is now, but he's not going to see the full potential of what he could make if he hits the open market. So then now you're talking about a potential franchise tag. I don't know who else on that team is free agent necessarily.
Yeah,
but,
I don't either. I don't either.
Chase Young, I think is free agent.
Okay, sure. And and I'm pretty sure he won't be there.
You think so?
I don't think he'll be there.
Okay.
I think they're gonna have to pay him. I think he was a rental. That's what I think. I think he was a rental.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get he didn't. I get he didn't show himself those last few games. Close the season out, but I thought he had a solid game in the Super Bowl. Especially when Greenlaw went out with the injury, but I thought he had a solid game.
Sure, and let's be clear. And the week before they was talking about how Chase Young hadn't been mentioned for 2 weeks in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So so like shout out, glad you got your sack in the Super Bowl.
Right.
But I don't think that I think this is a rental. I think Chase Young walks. I think they signed Brandon Ayuk. I don't think Trent Williams goes anywhere. I think they need to address defensive back. Um,
Mm.
and then obviously there's the Brock Purdy situation. With do you give him a contract now or do you wait?
I was gonna
I
say,
mean, no. They have to wait to the end of next year. So never mind.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think there's a situation there. I think
Yeah.
he's what he is. He's coming back. He's the starter. McCaffrey, you got him locked in.
Right.
Kittle, you got him locked in.
Debo's locked in.
Debo's locked in. Now, I've heard some interesting things where they said maybe they trade Debo Samuel and maybe get some draft capital or maybe some players.
Well, what's very clear is that their right side of the offensive line isn't as good as the left side, and but it's like glaring. They're like glaringly bad on the right side, and obviously supremely talented on the left side with Trent Williams.
Right.
So I've seen a lot of people saying that they need to deal with that right side. And maybe that's are you willing to let go of him, Debo, for that? Look, I don't. I say, if I were in that situation,
I think you let him go. I think based on how you feel about Trent Williams, I think you let him go.
Yeah, I think so too. Jawan Jennings, he ain't a bad. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he'll be Debo Samuel's. They're certainly not going to use him in the same way they use Debo Samuel.
Yeah.
But Jennings is good, man. Jennings, he always seems to be there on third down. Yeah.
He good. And shout out to him because if San Fran wins the Super Bowl, he's the Super Bowl MVP in my eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. They need to be more of a how can I describe it? I think they need to be more of a vertical team. If that
no,
makes
I think that I hear you. That's your opinion. I ain't mean to.
No, I'm maybe I'm wording it incorrectly, but it don't seem like they got like when things go bad, like when it's all said and done, and you need a play and you need a back shoulder catch or a throw outside the numbers, like that guy, like. I kind of feel like they still need that guy, and it's no disrespect to Ayuk, but I don't feel like they put him in them situations enough for me to believe that Ayuk's that dude. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
that's probably why, like I said, Ayuk is in there mad, and his brother's in like that's why we about to leave.
Yeah,
like those are the types of things. Like Brandon Ayuk is clearly asking for these opportunities to prove himself as a number one receiver.
Yeah.
But it's not flowing in Shanahan's. Look, I think the main problem with with the San Francisco 49ers is Kyle Shanahan, which unfortunately is also the best thing about it, probably the best thing.
Yeah, right.
Like he's a good offensive coordinator. He calls offensive games, but then he's so good that he gets cocky and it gets out of what works. And here he is in these situations. So, you just kind of hope that Shanahan gets his shit together, or one season that his over, his cockiness works.
I don't know, man. I mean, Vegas got them the favorites to go back to the Super Bowl. Not that that really means anything to me anyway. I think it's just,
I mean, who's this? I mean, yeah, sure, but I mean, you don't look at the NFC and feel like San Francisco. That I think they are right now. If we're talking about 2 days after the Super Bowl, yeah, they are the best team.
And maybe I'm looking at it from the standpoint that there's always somebody new that rises to the crop. I think I'm looking at it that more so than I am how Vegas views the whole conference. So yeah, they're right. Like they're the definitely the favorites in the conference, but favorites to win the whole thing next year, that's another thing. where it's like,
well. If you're talking about news, I mean, look, I mean, in the AFC, I'm sure it's the Chiefs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think the Chiefs should be the favorite to win it all next year.
But you don't think the 49ers should be the? You're just saying that. I mean, obviously, only one person can win the Super Bowl.
Right.
You're
that's
just
what I'm
saying that
to
got
win
you.
it. I'm saying to win it all, not to
Got you.
get there.
Get there.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah. But they're saying San Fran's the favorite to win it all next year, and I don't know that that's the case when we're in the middle of witnessing a dynasty right now. And that team, and that Chiefs team, I think it's going to get better in the offseason.
Well, Kadarius Toney is all but gone.
Right.
So
right.
there's that. I mean, look, I would love to say that they need a number one receiver, man.
Yeah,
I would love to say they need a number one receiver.
They're going to upgrade at receiver, no question about it.
Yeah. So there's that, but I mean, defense is still the defense. I mean, like I said, I don't think that front four. I think that front four is the chink in the armor.
Chris Jones, they're going to have to figure out. Chris Jones was getting paid $25 million this year on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to figure that out if they decide they're going to let him walk or they're going to bring him back. So,
well, they'd be foolish. Let me say this.
Mm-hmm.
You better let him. You better figure him.
They're going to have to find a way.
Yeah.
Mahomes, you got some extra cash, man? We need this guy. We need this guy.
You definitely need Chris Jones. You definitely need Chris Jones, in my opinion.
But other than that, the defense, I think the back end of the defense, I think that, linebacking core, that's a young group. That's a young group.
Yeah, but I don't think they have Chris Jones is a supreme pass rusher, particularly in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I think they need another pass rusher, though. I do think that.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being the case. I mean, they'll be more deadly if they do that. If they could find a guy on the other side of him, that
Chase Young,
right? Well, yeah, man. I wish the best for Chase Young, man. I hope he could find some consistency wherever he go.
Yeah, for sure, for sure,
man. Hey, a quick shout out. Got Kesey and Deacon Dell in the Facebook Live chat.
What up?
Got X Squad up in here. Also, man, shout out to everybody that went to the Super Bowl, Radio Row, covering the two teams, getting the interviews with guests and people like that. I saw my guy Courtney Harden out there with BS3 out there. I saw Nikki out there. D Love Sports.
Man, D is going the fuck crazy.
Yeah, she's a star, bro.
Shawty is going the fuck crazy.
She's a star.
Yeah, definitely shout out to her. She's going the fuck crazy. She's going crazy. Yeah, she's going crazy. Yeah. Shout out to her.
Yeah. Karita Parks was out there with her crew.
Yeah.
Covering the game as well. So, hey, I'm inspired, man. I am inspired. The Super Bowl is in New Orleans next season. Mm-hmm. I am seriously contemplating we should go, bruh. And
we just need to figure out the move
and try to
we gotta put the play together. We got a year to figure it out.
Yeah. And I've been starting to do research and talk to some people and figure out, hey, what do we got to do to get some passes and get on there, man. Like I'm seeing like this Ravens podcast, this lady and this guy, they out there on Radio Row. I'm like, man, if they could do it, and if BS3 and Courtney Harden, if they could do it, we could do it too.
Yeah, man, So let's start making some plays, man.
Absolutely. I was on Southwest. I was on Southwest app, looking at flights to New Orleans, but they don't have the schedule that far down yet.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to kind of wait on that. But there's other airlines that do.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to do the research and stuff. But shout out to everybody that's been out there covering the game, and I see y'all out there shining. Kelsey Nicole was out there too, doing her thing as well. So shout out to everybody out there, covering the game on Radio Row and all that good stuff, man.
For sure.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out. Hey, let's do this first because I got a list of names here. The finalists for the Hall of Fame for this year. Congrats to those that are being inducted later this year. Andre Johnson with the Texans. Congrats to him. Devin Hester, rightfully so, deserving of it. Dwight Freeney, Julius Peppers, Patrick Willis, Randy Gradishar, and Steve McMichael, who I'm not familiar with the last two names, but everybody else deservedly of the Hall of Fame. So, congrats to those names. Was curious if you thought there was anybody that you felt like deserved to get in this year.
I don't know off the top of my head. Give me who
I got a list,
thought.
bro. I'm prepared.
I know you did. I didn't know you was going here.
I'm prepared. I got a list here. Okay, so here's the names: Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Willie Anderson. Now, Willie Anderson, that's the offensive tackle, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
From the Saints. Yeah.
Okay. Jari Evans, Antonio
Saints.
Jari Evans from the Saints. Yep.
Okay. No.
Antonio Gates.
Okay.
Rodney Harrison, Torrey Holt, Buddy Parker, Art Powell, Fred Taylor, and Reggie Wayne, and Darren Woodson. So those were the other names on the finalist list.
I think they did all right. I think they did all right this year. Maybe Torrey, but I don't want Andre Johnson to come out. So I mean, I was thinking maybe Torrey Holt before.
Right, because they're not going to put two receivers in, right?
Right. But I mean, personally, just my personal opinion. I'm going Andre Johnson over Torrey Holt. So
yeah, I would do that. I would certainly do that. So. I
think Jared Allen is a Hall of Famer, but not before Julius Peppers. So
no.
You know
Julius,
what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. Julius Peppers, he's the first pass rusher to go in off that list right there. But I'm gonna mention the name Antonio Gates. I always felt like he was first ballot, man. But
I mean, I guess you take out those two names we didn't know, but but the only reason we saying that is because we don't know them two names.
Well, what two names you referring to?
The Gradishaw and McMichael.
So here's what I would do. And I like Patrick Willis, and I know he had a short career, retired suddenly, all of a sudden, like that kind of came out of nowhere. I would swap Patrick Willis for Antonio Gates. And it's not to say that Patrick Willis isn't a Hall of Famer. I do believe the time that he was in there and the things that he was doing is Hall of Fame worthy. But I would put Antonio Gates just based off of longevity in the league over Patrick Willis.
Okay.
That's what I would have done.
Okay. I think I'm gonna stick with Patrick Willis, me personally. But if I had to, if you're telling me I gotta get Antonio Gates in, I'm taking them other two names. I don't know them other two names, so I'm taking them out.
Randy and Steve McMichael. Okay,
right. I'm taking both of them names out, and that's how I'll get it. This is just Maestro's list. This is how I get Jared Allen and Antonio Gates in.
Okay, all right. Now I can respect that. So. I know that there's like a senior committee that has to add two names from, I guess, the list of people from years ago.
Right.
So, those are the two names that were on that senior committee list.
Right. Okay.
So that's how they kind of, came up with that. I'm interested. The Fred Taylor thing is a pretty intriguing one to me because he's never been like. You think Fred Taylor was ever a top 5 back in the league during his time?
I'm going to say, without thinking about it, yes. But without really, because Fred Taylor is when 2000
You're talking 2000 to like 2007, 2008 ish. something like that.
Okay. I don't know why I feel like he was. Who was that? He was he was with David Garrett at the end, and they beat Pittsburgh after in 2005 in the
Yeah, and like
playoffs.
Mojo Drew was like his replacement, I think.
Gosh, okay,
And
that's why I'm
yeah,
that's why I'm getting confused. I'm thinking that Fred Taylor was on the back end. It was Maurice Jones-Drew that was on the back end.
yeah.
Okay,
But they were on the
okay.
team at the same time, though.
I
Like,
get that. I get that. I'm
yep,
just saying
yep.
that Maurice Jones-Drew was drafted like 2006 or 2005
Something
or
like
something
that.
like
Something
that.
like that. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
right. Um, yes, I'm gonna say without thinking about it, 2000 to 2007, running backs that were there.
LaDainian
Um,
Tomlinson, Sean
yeah,
Alexander, Clinton Portis,
Jerome Bettis on the back end.
Jerome. Yeah, on the back end of his career. Yeah.
Michael Turner. Uh, who?
Warwick Dunn.
Warwick Dunn. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could. I mean, look, without knowing having the statistics right in my hands, and obviously I didn't watch a whole lot of Jacksonville Jaguars. I would say that there was a point that he was a top five, but there was certainly a point where he was a top. Certainly he was a top 10 at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. Top 10. Yeah. No question, top 10 for certain.
I'm gonna say yes without a whole bunch of information, like without thinking about it. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Fred Taylor was absolutely one of them.
Yeah. I feel like maybe for about a year, I say for about one of them years, he might have been top 5. But just to kind of go through his career, he's over 10,000 career rushing yards. I don't know what the touchdown totals are, but I always used to think that if you cross that 10,000 threshold for running
Career.
yards, that you were close to approaching that Hall of Fame status. Now, I know there's still guys that aren't there yet that got over 10,000, rushing yards, but
Okay.
Fred Taylor seems like a guy that, lunch pail, you go to work, kind of a thing, wasn't like a superstar, wasn't a
Wasn't
superstar or
fancy.
anything like that. Right. Maybe that had something to do with the team he was on, but he wasn't like flashy or all that to me. Like when I think about the highlight reels of Fred Taylor, I don't know that I can.
They're just good runs.
Good runs, right? There was nothing spectacular or anything. Like,
Well, hey man, the answer that I think you're getting to is he a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I think the answer is no. But I do think he is a Hall of Famer.
yeah.
I think
Is this his first time on the ballot?
I'm gonna say yes without knowing, but
He been out the league a minute though.
for a long time, right? But I
Yeah.
don't ever recall hearing his name until this year.
Okay, but
But
I
that don't
think-
mean it wasn't.
well, after 5 years, you're eligible. So
Right, I understand that. So yeah, but his name he hasn't been a finalist or in that running to be a finalist that I've ever heard of.
Right. Well, I guess I'd have to backtrack a bit, but yeah,
Sure, and
this is
I ain't
the
doing
first
that.
time. Yeah, because I got the list up. It's garnering this conversation. So, but I agree with you. I think he is a Hall of Famer. I think he gets in somewhere down the line. I just hope, like many other of these guys, that they're alive to see it. So,
Yeah.
like even Reggie Wayne. I think he had first ballot, Hall of Fame talent, but with so many receivers that you can only put one or two at a time in. So, same thing with Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt, I think, had like a 6-year stretch of at least 1,300 receiving yards. So, he gonna have to wait a little bit. Steve Smith, that's another guy. I think he's first ballot, but he gonna have to wait, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
It's okay. He'll get it. And you would like to think that those names, they're gonna get it eventually.
Right.
And like you
right.
said, just hopefully they're allowed to put the gold jacket on and see their bus.
Yep. So I got another list here. So these are names that are gonna be first year eligibility next year. Eli Manning.
I knew he was coming up. He's
Yep.
going in first ballot, whether you like it or not.
Right. That's kind of how I feel like. I feel like he's not first ballot, but I know they're gonna put him on there.
He's going in one whatever.
Right. Luke Kuechly.
First ballot.
You think Luke first ballot? Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, he's another one that his career got cut short because of injury and stuff.
Let me hear the rest of the list before I decide on Luke Kuechly.
All right, so Adam Vinatieri, who I think is first ballot.
First ballot.
Terrell Suggs, first ballot.
First.
Marshall Yanda, as a guard. I think he eventually gets in. I don't know that Marshall Yanda gets in on the first ballot.
I don't know if Terrell Suggs is first ballot.
Man, how many sacks does he have? He has like 130 something sacks career wise. I mean, he's way over that threshold, man.
Okay. I look, I haven't done no research on him. I ain't thinking, you kind of springing this list on me.
No, I got you.
First thought, I don't know if Terrell Suggs is a first ballot.
Even with the 130 career sacks.
Right now, right this second, I'm saying yes. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not even saying yes. I'm saying I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. I think he's first ballot.
Sure.
I mean, not because I'm a Raven fan, but the numbers. I mean, that there's not a lot of guys with over 100 sacks in the league overall.
And you sure he got 100? He got 100 overall sacks.
He's well over 100 sacks for his career. I might be getting I'm
because I'm sitting here thinking I think Reggie White is at like 132.
Well, let's
I am Google all time sack leaders.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, I'm wrong because
139 sacks.
Yeah, I'm about to say I just said I'm wrong. Okay. Because Reggie White is at damn near 200 and Bruce Smith got the most sacks.
I was gonna say there's somebody that's got like 150 up there.
What's his name got 200? Bruce Smith. So
Bruce Smith got 200. Lawrence Taylor probably got like 160, 170 maybe.
Lawrence Taylor has 132.
132. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got
Okay. Well, Terrell Suggs is 8th all time, so yes, he's a Hall of Famer first ballot. Yeah.
Okay, but Marshall Yanda, I don't think he's first ballot. I think he eventually gets in, but I don't think he gets on the first try.
Julius Peppers got 159 sacks.
Yeah, who else on that list? You got Julius Peppers.
Number one is Bruce Smith with 200. Reggie White 198. Right. Kevin Green 160.
Yep.
Julius Peppers is 159 and a half. Chris Dolman is 159 and a half. Michael Strahan is 141 and a half. Jason Taylor is 139 and a half.
Yep.
Then there's Suggs. Just to round out the list is DeMarcus Ware, Richard Dent, John Allen, Jared Allen, John Abraham, Lawrence Taylor, Leslie O'Neal, Ricky Jackson, rest in peace, Derek Thomas, rest in peace, Dwight Freeney, Von Miller, and Robert Mathis.
Robert Mathis is over 100?
Robert Mathis has 123,
123. Ooh, I didn't know he was that high. Okay. So those are everybody that's over 100, or is that just like a top?
That's a top 20 list.
A top 20. Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Von Miller is at where again?
Von Miller is 19 with 123 and a half.
123 and a half. Okay. Well, whenever he hangs it up, he's first ballot.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but here's the rest of the names. Beast Mode. I think he's first ballot.
First ballot,
Yep. Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas is not to me.
Nah. Hope his life is doing all right.
I ain't gonna speak on that.
I'm just saying. I hope he's doing all right in life.
Sure.
I hope he's doing all right in life. Joe Staley.
I think Joe Staley's first ballot.
Yeah, I kind of do too. Yeah, 49ers, right?
One of the better offensive tackles. I think he's
Yep. Yep.
first ballot.
Demarius Thomas, rest in peace.
No.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he's not first ballot.
No.
Aqib Talib, no.
No.
Vernon Davis.
No.
Yeah, he's had an interesting career. I don't think he's first ballot.
He out here putting out rap records in the city.
My man was in a Ja Rule movie some years ago, playing a bouncer.
Yeah, he out here. Yeah, he out here rapping and shit.
Yeah. And he doing a lot more movies too.
I don't know.
He's made a good post career for himself. So shout out to the Maryland Terp. Darren Sproles, no. Cameron Wake,
no. First ballot, no.
Nah. So there's about what 4 or 5 like first ballots on here. Like
I don't even remember who we said it was.
Well,
I don't
remember. Well, Eli,
yeah.
Luke Kuechly. Did we kind of?
I'm gonna say no if you're making me make a decision.
Okay, so Eli, Vinatieri, Suggs, Beast Mode, and Joe Staley. So that's about 5. Okay.
So then you got time to get some of these older folks in that need to be in.
Right.
But those 5 are 5. But them 5 are, in my opinion, are first ballots.
Yep, I agree. Now, if I had to make a prediction, I'll be quick about this. I just have a hunch that they're not gonna let Beast Mode in on the first ballot. I don't know why.
I feel that way too.
I don't know why, but
because he's black and he's unapologetically black. I ain't know what it starts to me. I mean, I'm just here. You know, whatever the quote was at the press, the song get fired. Whatever the quote was, yeah. He. I don't think they're gonna let him be first ballot.
That man had one of, if not the greatest runs of all time. I don't know how you keep him out, but I just have a feeling because of what you said that they're not gonna let him in on the first ballot.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to all the players that got their awards before the Super Bowl, man. Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. Congrats. Although I would like to have seen him in the Super Bowl with a Super Bowl MVP, but he a 2-time MVP, man. And his career right now is, to me, Hall of Fame trajectory right now.
Oh,
to me.
I was about to say.
What?
I thought you were about to say he was a Hall of Famer right now.
No. Like, Hall of Fame trajectory.
Okay. I don't disagree.
Not a lot of guys with 2 league MVPs.
Yeah, like 13 or something. I saw.
Yeah, something like I think it's somewhere like 10, but
okay.
Yeah, but to your point, it's not a lot of guys there.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I can't imagine him not making a Hall of Fame at some point in his career.
Yep.
If he's 2 more years of this, if he didn't win a Super Bowl, if he had 2 more years of this kind of season he had last year.
Yep.
I think he would be cemented, maybe not first ballot, but definitely cemented as a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
But
I can see that.
How many years of non-Super Bowl does he have before we just chalk him up as another dude?
Before we chalk him up as another dude. Now, is that to say? Is that to say he's not a Hall of Famer, or is that just
no? Just to say, we put him up there with Patrick Mahomes, and maybe we don't, but he's certainly in that second.
Some
tier
guys, right? Some guys are saying it's Patrick Mahomes and it's everybody else,
right? But he's definitely, if it's tier 2, he's Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
That cloth.
Yep.
It's reasonable that Josh Allen is getting some criticism.
Yeah, criticism.
And Josh Allen is getting criticism. It's reasonable that that Lamar Jackson is even getting criticism.
Mm-hmm.
How many years before? When do people start to say that how many years does it take for people to say that Lamar Jackson doesn't have what it takes to get to a Super Bowl? How many years does he have?
I feel like until he's 30. So he's 27 now, I think. So
Okay.
3 years. I
3
feel like
years.
I
Okay.
feel like 3 years. If he doesn't win a Super Bowl, then
He's not.
I think he's gonna drop from that tier, and then
Gotcha.
obviously Stroud is coming along, Jordan Love is coming along, you know, those types of players, and then these guys that are coming out in the draft this year, you know, who knows what those guys could be. So, I think in another 3 years, if he doesn't get a Super Bowl, I think he drops from that tier. Not to say that he's like a Ryan Tannehill type.
Yeah, he ain't gonna
or
fall
anything
off the
that.
cliff. Yeah.
Right, not to say that, but he'll still be top 10. Like he'll still be like 8 or 9, like on that list. I think he'll be right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to bring this up. This is talking about the NFL honors and stuff. So the Cleveland Browns won 3 awards, and it's not even arguably the 3 awards. It's the 3 awards that mostly everyone has a problem with them winning. So
Yeah.
defensive player of the year went to Myles Garrett. Comeback player of the year went to Joe Flacco. Coach of the year went to Kevin Stefanski. So let's start with defensive player of the year. I know where you at with it.
That's bullshit.
I know where you at with it.
These motherfuckers talking about a pass efficiency percentage is the reason why he won defensive player of the year. Man, y'all get the fuck out of my face.
What the hell does that even mean? What the hell?
Every number, literally every category: tackles for loss, sacks, interceptions, forced fumbles. I think he might have lost in forced fumbles, but he won in recoveries or something like that.
Yeah, he's leading a lot of the categories. He's leading in.
TJ Watt is leading all of these damn categories this season, and Myles Garrett wins.
So why do you think they didn't give it to TJ?
I honestly do not know what TJ Watt has done to people. I know Taylor Lewan speaks about him in a negative manner.
Speaks about TJ Watt in a negative manner?
Yes.
And what the hell? Who the hell is Taylor Lewan? Now I know who Taylor Lewan is, but I'm saying who the hell is he to have that much clout?
So I don't know if it's clout. I'm just trying to speak to. I don't know what TJ Watt is doing. I don't know what he's doing to piss people off, or I don't know. The only example I have of somebody having a negative thing to say about him is Taylor Lewan. Mm-hmm. So not this past off season, but 2 off seasons ago.
Yeah.
We was talking about maybe bringing Taylor Lewan into Pittsburgh, and Taylor Lewan was like, "Well, I'm all cool for going to Pittsburgh, but me and TJ Watt need to have a conversation." The conversation, what was reported was that there was a game where the Titans played the Steelers, and allegedly TJ Watt, I don't remember if he spit at him but allegedly TJ Watt did some grimy shit to him. Okay. And he was like, "Well, all right, me and him need to have a conversation before y'all even bring me into the building, because he disrespected in a different way."
Right.
TJ Watt, I don't remember exactly what the response was, but it was basically "fuck you." That's me paraphrasing, me putting my spin on it.
Okay.
But basically TJ Watt was like, "Nigga, don't come over here, whatever." Right. What conversation we need to have? Either you want to come over here and play with Pittsburgh or not. And let's be clear, we were in desperate need of offensive line, as you could see in the past 2 years. So that all that to say is that I'm not sure who he pissed off or if he's pissing people off, but there is no way that you look at TJ Watt's season, not just statistically, but looked at him on the field, and you looked at Myles Garrett on the field statistically and on the field, and this many people came to the conclusion that Myles Garrett was the better player defensively. The only other argument I feel they have is that how the Browns ranked statistically, how they performed, their winning record, that type of thing. But there's nothing else that when you look at the individual player versus another individual player that says to me that Myles Garrett should have been Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah,
that shit is bullshit.
Because the Browns, and look, we both hate the Browns with a passion. Their defense, like their splits, home versus road, it's so night and day that, like, I mean, I remember the game against Indy. They gave up 38 points to the Colts with Gardner Minshew at quarterback, and it's like this y'all defense. And I get Myles Garrett had a monster game in that game as far as forced fumbles and turnovers and just kind of
didn't change the game enough.
Right,
that's what I'm saying.
Right. Didn't change the game enough to where they won the game convincingly. Now they did win the game, but they didn't win it convincingly. That's the only thing to me that I kind of sit back and look at it and say, okay, this is what I've been talking about. And again, I got no love for the Steelers, but I've always said this about TJ Watt. When he's in the lineup, Pittsburgh Steelers are above 500. When he's not in the lineup, Pittsburgh Steelers are below 500 with the record between when he's in there and when he's not out there. So obviously, TJ Watt has a lot of impact when it comes to wins and losses. Myles Garrett, on the other hand, while he is an impactful player, doesn't seem to impact his team's wins and losses the way TJ Watt does. Yeah. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at like their catalog of games, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, just being at home, they were dominant at home. Like the defense, they were dominant at home, but on the road, they were terrible, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And do you know who else was running for Comeback Player of the Year? Because that's what I thought it was.
Who else was in the running?
Yes.
All I know was Damar Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin and Joe Flacco.
I don't know who the other nominees were.
Let's see if we can find that out.
I was gonna say, but it sounded like you got a name. It sounded like maybe you have a name.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I was more so getting at, this dude played 4 or 5 games, and let's be clear.
Who? Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe Flacco.
Okay.
We don't think he's a good player now.
Well.
Or do we?
So here's where, because I thought Damar Hamlin was getting it. Let me be clear about that. I thought,
really.
I thought Damar Hamlin was getting it because it's a good story. You know how the NFL is with with storylines and stuff like that. And when you talk about Joe Flacco only playing 4 or 5 games, how many games Damar Hamlin played? Like I don't recall seeing Damar Hamlin in a lot of games this year.
Yeah, he was the backup safety, and he played special teams.
Right.
That fake punt that they ran in the playoffs, that was Damar Hamlin running the ball.
Yes, I remember that. The one they didn't convert, right, against Kansas City.
Yeah, they did. Right.
Okay, so
here's the list.
Baker. Baker's on that list.
So Baker and Matt Stafford. So I don't look.
Okay, that's right. Okay, that's
yeah.
Right.
So what are we talking about? What are we talking about for real? Baker Mayfield or Matt Stafford should have won that award. Period.
Because Baker.
Period.
Well, I don't disagree. I'm just asking when we talk about comeback player of the year, what did Baker come back from?
I'm going to assume injury, but I don't remember. I'm just looking.
He wasn't injured. He wasn't injured.
He wasn't injured last year. Okay, then it's clearly Matt Stafford, and who was definitely injured last
right?
year.
Who was injured?
Okay, right.
Back,
so
I'm
not.
Yeah, played the majority.
I'm
of
only
the
basing
season.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm only basing it on the seasons these 4 players had.
Right.
So I don't. Yeah. So if Baker Mayfield, I don't know. Because I don't know that you had to be injured. I thought that it was just based on have a down year,
Yeah.
have a good year,
The
you can be
criteria,
eligible.
the criteria keeps getting like.
Well, I never knew
moved.
what an official criteria was. So,
But that's the
so
problem. I don't think there is an official criteria. I think the
Well-
criteria is based off of who's nominated that particular year. And I
Well,
think
but it's got to be based on something. So my point in saying that is that it got to be based on something. We know why DeMar Hamlin is on the list. We know why
Right.
Joe Flacco is on the list. I mean,
Right.
was Joe Flacco injured with the Jets last year or 2 years ago?
he-
I don't
no,
recall him.
No, he wasn't injured, but I think now we're talking about injuries. So it sounds to me like you're saying the criteria should be you got to come back from injury.
No. What I'm
Okay.
saying is
Okay.
I don't know what the criteria is,
Okay.
but the fact that they put him on the list,
Gotcha.
I'm only basing on the seasons they've had. Baker
Gotcha.
Mayfield had a better season than Joe Flacco. Matt Stafford had a better season than fucking Joe Flacco. I get Joe
Yep.
Flacco cooked for 4 or 5 games, or I get that.
Right.
But Baker Mayfield also did make the playoffs.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And won a game. Yep. So,
Yep.
I get it's not based on the regular season, but you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? I mean, not based on the playoffs, but like I don't understand how Joe Flacco gets that. So I'm questioning that as well.
Yeah.
Kevin Stefanski should also be questioned. Maybe he's the more deserving of the two than of the other two. But
to get to the Joe thing, and again, I thought DeMar Hamlin was gonna win it just based off of what happened with him last year.
but he didn't do anything.
No, I get it.
So you thought they were gonna play a politics game, basically?
Exactly.
A media game.
Exactly. That's
Okay,
that's what my thinking was. And
Gotcha.
again, and again, I feel like every year with this award, they move the goalpost on the criteria of what you come back from. Like we said, Matt Stafford came back from an injury. Baker Mayfield, while he did have, a bounce back season statistically, I'm trying to figure out what he came back from. I mean, wasn't he on like 2-3 different teams last year?
Right.
When
So
he
what I was
on
right.
the Rams or something like that?
Yeah, so what I'm
Right.
saying is that I don't know what the criteria is,
Yeah.
but it's safe for me to assume that if you have a bad year, I guess a historically bad, like we thought that Baker Mayfield was a backup quarterback. That's what we pegged him as.
So maybe coming back from being a backup quarterback. Okay.
To being
Okay.
so I'm with Baker Mayfield being on the list.
Right.
I'm with Matthew Stafford being on the list. I'm with everybody who's on the list being on the list. I don't have an issue with that.
Gotcha.
I'm just
Gotcha.
saying that Joe Flacco, there's no way in hell that I look at Matthew Stafford and Baker Mayfield on that list and then give it to Joe Flacco. There's no way that makes sense to me.
Yeah, that didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me either. And again, I go back to it. Look, I thought DeMar was gonna get it, but I'm with you. If the other two guys is on this list, and if we're basing this off of coming back from a down year, Matt Stafford, whether injured or not, had a down year. Baker, injured or not, had a down year. Joe Flacco was a backup for the Jets last year and started this season on the couch until he got a phone call week 12, week 13.
Which is a great story, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is a great story.
Right.
But you can't compare that to somebody who played 15, 16 games.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's the criteria, the amount of games plus what you came back from, then I would have to say give it to Baker or give it to Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I say give it to and maybe I'm using the playoffs and I shouldn't. I'm saying I would have gave it to Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
But they made the playoffs. The Rams did not. Correct?
The Rams did.
The Rams did. They lost to Detroit. Right.
Yeah, they did. No, they did.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm giving it.
And the Rams were a bad team last year too, coming off the Super Bowl win.
I mean, and the Buccaneers were a bad team this year, for real. But
I mean, well, record-wise, they were bad. Well, no. last season, the 8-9, the Tom Brady 8-9 year was a bad year for the Buccaneers.
And
they still made the playoffs.
What was they? 9-8.
9-8 this year.
Yeah, this year. That's what I mean.
9-8 this year.
So they went from 8-9 to 9-8. And never mind, Matthew Stafford. Never mind.
Yeah, I would have given it to Matt Stafford.
Yeah,
I would have given it to Matt Stafford based off that. The Kevin Stefanski thing. So I think we talked about this, right? Because we knew between him and DeMeco Ryans, and my thing was always the turnaround of the franchise. They went from 3 wins to 10 wins this year. Mm-hmm. Rookie head coach, rookie quarterback, the Deshaun Watson fiasco kind of a thing that kind of left the franchise at a point where they didn't know what direction to go. They bring these 2 guys in, DeMeco and CJ, and not only a turnaround, not only a 7-win improvement, but a division title on top of that. For me, DeMeco Ryan should have gotten this award. Now, it sounds like to kind of cap the conversation a bit, and I know you want to, I guess, express your disregard for this award, but there's definitely a Browns bias going on here. It's definitely seems
for
to
what?
me.
I mean, like it would seem that way just because 3 people got awards they didn't deserve, but
No. It's not because 3 people got awards they didn't deserve. I think there's a Browns bias because the Browns are good again. They won 11 games. They made the playoffs. We know about the history of the Browns. We know the league wanted to put the Browns back in Cleveland after they relocated. It seems like they're like the lovable losers, if that makes sense. It seems to me like they're more of the lovable losers of the league. So anytime the Browns do something good, they always gotta, show them some love in some way, shape, or form. That's what it seems like to me. Anyway. Okay,
yeah.
I don't know that you see it that way. But
I didn't. I never thought about it, but I don't. They don't ring with me. No.
I kind of see it that way, bruh. Like the Browns been bad for about 15, 16 years until a few years ago when they made the playoffs and they beat y'all in the wild card round. Mm-hmm. People were so hype about that. Now 2-3 years later, they back in the playoffs and it's the Browns and all the talk about Joe Flacco. They could take the Browns to the Super Bowl and I think the league would explode if the Browns ever got to a Super Bowl.
Well, let's be clear about something. This team probably has a different season if Nick Chubb didn't get injured early. I think this team definitely...
How different you think? Now, what do you mean by different? As far as
I think this team, I don't know. I wouldn't go as far as say they would have been going to the Super Bowl, but I would have certainly look. They were 11-5 without Nick Chubb.
11-6. Yep.
11-6. But maybe that equals to another win, or maybe 2 more wins.
They might be the same. I would say they might be the same. Remember, they had to switch their whole offensive game plan
because of Chubb, though.
Right.
So, but I'm saying if Chubb is there, they're running their same scheme. And look. I'm not maybe record-wise.
Do they beat the Rams? I don't know that they beat the Rams. I mean, the Rams was hot
with Nick Chubb. I think Look, I don't remember the game, but I can't. You definitely have a better shot with Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is a top 5 running back in this league.
Of course.
My point is that while the win total may not have been different, maybe they don't win, but maybe it is. Maybe they win an extra game or 2 with Nick Chubb in the lineup. Mm-hmm. They certainly would have beat us. Nick Chubb was cooking the shit out of us that game.
That first matchup, right?
Yeah, he was cooking the shit. Nick Chubb was cooking the shit out of us.
Okay.
So that's probably where the 1 extra win is.
Okay.
But all that to say, this team is a different team, and they compete different when you got a top 5 running back.
Yeah.
You get a top 5 running back. Now, Deshaun Watson maybe doesn't get injured. Maybe he looks a little different.
Yeah.
We know who Amari Cooper is.
Right.
We get Amari Cooper going,
Right.
then maybe
The
Njoku,
offensive tackles, if they didn't have injuries across the offensive line.
So all that to say is, I won't go as far as to say that this team was a Super Bowl team, without the injuries. What I will say is that they had a lot of injuries and still had a winning record.
Yeah.
So yes, the fans keep belongs in the conversation.
Yeah.
For sure.
What was the record? What was the thing they were saying? No team had been to the playoffs and started 4 different quarterbacks throughout the year, or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I maybe, but to coach your team to a winning record in the playoffs under those
circumstances,
circumstances. Thank you. You deserve to be in the conversation for sure. At the end of the day, DeMeco Ryans shifted a culture just now. Looking at them like they might be the new wave in the AFC because of what DeMeco Ryans and CJ Stroud did this year. DeMeco Ryans Jacksonville, we don't even remember, Jacksonville. I don't feel like nobody.
We think Jacksonville about to be bad next year. I don't know about you, but I feel like Jacksonville.
We feel like they might have been frauds.
They
might have been frauds.
Right.
So I can't get at the Stefanski. I agree. I don't even know who else was in the running, but I tend to agree that DeMeco Ryans should have been coach of the year. So this is 3 times that the Cleveland Browns or some organization has snubbed somebody. I don't agree with the idea that they're doing this intentionally. I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't think the NFL is trying to put any focus on the Cleveland Browns being a
that's
how
wild.
do you say? Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that.
Because that's wild to think that the three because and look, I forget the other awards and stuff. I guess CJ got Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't got a problem with that. Defensive Rookie of the Year was guy on the same team.
Will Anderson.
Will Anderson. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Don't got a problem with that. I can't think of another award that I got an issue with except these 3 awards that the Cleveland Browns won.
Well, yeah. Well, that's hard. Well, yeah. I don't know because I didn't watch that show. And the only reason I know Myles Garrett won is because those some of those things pop up.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I don't think that they're trying to push the Cleveland Browns. I just think they made a mistake. Made a mistake. That's three
big mistakes
that's
right there.
3 fucking. I mean, it's not big in the grand. That's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. We're making it a big deal because we're talking about it. But
sure.
I mean, I don't know. There's no incentive that affects. There's no incentive that I'm sure that maybe they get a little cash prize or something, but there's nothing that affects draft stock. There's nothing that affects the football play. This is just superlatives at the end of the day. It's like the best dressed in high school. This is just superlatives at the end of the day.
I think it's a big deal because it's one team that we're really talking about that doesn't deserve these 3 awards. I don't think it's anything else.
It's not like when you talk about. I guess you do in a small sense, but you don't look at people's careers and say, "Ooh, he won Defensive Player of the Year." Not first. You get what I'm saying? I get, you talk about MVPs. I guess maybe you kind of do because defensive players they don't have a lot of ways to acknowledge them as superior.
Yep.
So I guess maybe so. I think you would say all pros first, all pro team stuff first.
First team all pros. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would say that kind of stuff first, and then maybe defensive player of the year. Maybe. Yeah. So I don't know. Look. Sure. I'm sure. T.J. Watt wanted the award. He deserved the award, but I don't think that affects his. I don't know that affects his bottom line per se.
They must like they pass rush is black, man.
Hey man.
That's amazing to me.
Because I ain't gonna lie to you, because I felt like he got robbed the year before he got it. When Aaron Donald got it, I felt like he got robbed that year. So
yeah, I was just about to ask you, TJ. He's won one before, right?
He won the year when he tied Strahan record, but I feel
Okay.
like the year before that, when Aaron Donald won it, that he
Uh-huh.
should have won it.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So
All right. All right.
whatever. The
It is
last
what it
thing
is.
I got, man, is
Yep.
as of right now, the Wizards and Capitals are staying in DC. Something fell through. I didn't get to read the
Oh,
story.
word?
Yeah, something fell through. The quote a quote read that these deals are dead. Somebody said that. I didn't get to read the
Mm.
story before we got on the air, but as of
Mm-hmm.
right now, it would seem that the Wizards, those plans of the Wizards and the Capitals moving to Virginia, Northern Virginia, are dead as of right now.
Wow. That's big, big, good, great news
Good, great news.
for DC, for downtown DC, for Gallery Place, for all
And
those
I'm also,
businesses.
and I'm also, I don't know if his rumors are real or real.
Mm-hmm.
I am seeing that people are trying to draw proposals for RFK.
So is this in relation to the Commanders, I assume, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. So
Okay.
I don't know how real or fake it is, but I did read something like that. Scrolling through Twitter. I didn't open
Yeah.
up the article, but
Yeah, it's funny. I was at a site walk maybe 2 weeks ago. I had to go down that street. I think it's 19th Street, where the
mm,
Armory is, and then a few blocks up is the stadium where the train
yeah,
station is at.
yeah.
And I just so happened to look over to the right where everything is at, and I guess they put some kind of shops in there or something like that.
Oh,
You,
I don't know. I haven't been. I haven't been. I've been over there,
mm-hmm.
but I wasn't over by the stadiums. I was
Uh huh.
because my kids had a game over on C Street at a I forget the name of that middle school over there,
Uh huh.
but it's across the street from Eastern,
Okay.
and but I didn't get to see anything over in that back
Okay.
where DJL and all that is at. So
Yeah, because they built like some shops over there. It seemed like. So in my
okay,
head, I'm thinking, expand on that. Tear down the old stadium, expand on the shops, and and obviously you gotta get through like the neighborhood and the residents, and I guess people got to be okay with it, or quite frankly they're gonna force them to be okay with it. If I'm talking politically, DC is gonna make the residents to be okay
man,
with it, right?
gentrification is gentrification, man.
Right,
It's happening.
right. So, um, but yeah, I've said it for years, man. Just tear the old one down, put something new right there. Metro's right there. Got public transportation. I mean, everything is like right there. It makes a lot of sense. So, um, yeah, I hope it pulls through, man. I hope it pulls
Yeah,
through.
for
And,
sure.
and the thing about the Caps and the Wiz, that's great news for them businesses down there on 7th Street. Great news for Clyde's. Clyde's ain't got to threaten to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good,
I feel
man.
like I need to take a trip to class just for the one time, man.
just to celebrate. Um, but yeah, when I read that story originally, they did hint at a lot of things that kind of had to go through. I
Hmm.
guess the Metro thing was a big thing too, cause
Yeah, that
that
metro station is small as hell.
yeah,
They ain't be able to handle that traffic.
yeah. You're talking $300 million worth of work there, so you know, yeah, a lot of that had to pass through, and Wiz and the Caps. So I get to take the green line to the games again. So that's cool, man. That's cool. So shout out to everybody in the chat, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Continue to follow us on those platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click the like button on the Facebook page. Also, we're on Instagram as well. You can follow us at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. If you got questions or comments, hit us up on the email at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. Also, hit us up, write a review on any of these streaming platforms, Google Play, iHeart, Spotify. Let us know what you think about the show. It goes a long way. And, man, it sucks, man. No more football season, but I'm all into NBA now, man. I'm in NBA mode like no other, man.
Give me a week. Give me a week, man.
A week?
2 weeks.
See, I was gonna say 2 weeks because All-Star Weekend is this weekend, and nobody really cares about that. But I'll probably watch the 3-point contest.
Yeah,
I'll probably watch that, and that's it.
Yeah. What's this? Sabrina versus Steph Curry. What's this?
Is that 3-point shooting? Yeah, 3-point shooting.
It is. It's a 3-point. Okay, I didn't know
shooting.
what it was.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I forgot about that. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that.
And shout out to Shaq is getting his number retired in Orlando tonight. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the game on now. They playing OKC. Okay. Much deserved. By the Diesel. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
But he need to get his number retired in Los Angeles too.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. Love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. We'll be back next week with another dope one. And as always, folks, mind your damn business.
Drink some water.
Oh yeah, we got 'em.
Recording
Trey,
stopped.
Frazier, and Maestro Styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left some. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we show